Hello and welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now we've had an email from Marcus Johansson in Sweden suggesting that an interesting variant for us to do, with some similarities to the between 1 and 9 Sudoku that seemed very popular, is frame Sudoku. And here we have numbers outside the grid. As you can see from the rules here, the numbers are the sum of the digits in, digits in the nearest 3 cells in that row or column. So, for instance, this 14 will be the sum of these 3 cells, but otherwise it's regular Sudoku rules 1 to 9 and in each row, column and box. So I'm going to have a go at this one. I haven't looked at it yet. Certainly with this variant, it's very helpful to know the kind of sums from killer Sudoku or sum Sudoku. So if you see a 23, that's going to be 9, 8 and 6. And if you see a 7, there is one in this puzzle, that's got to be 1, 2 and 4. So that's where I'm going to start. Let's have a go then. So that's 7, as I say. That makes all of these 3 cells 1, 2 and 4. Now, we don't know any more about them, except we do know that this one in the 19 box can't possibly be the 1, because that would leave 18 for the other 2 cells next to the 19. So it has to be a 2 and a 4. This 22 has to have a 9 in it. Now, what is often very helpful with a frame Sudoku is to just make a note of what the 3 cells in the middle of each row and column must add up to. And that must be the sum of 45, which is what 1 to 9 equals when you sum them, minus the bottom 3 and minus the top 3, for instance. So there, and that's a very useful one, straight away, it's 6. So just very quickly, I might make a mistake here, but just going to note down 45 minus the other 2 numbers, 32, 13, 8, 21, 20, 24. That's very useful. We know that they must be 9, 8, 7, for instance, in there. So it can prove very useful to know the middle 3. 24, 37, 8, that could be a useful one. There's only 2 possible arrangements, 12, 23, 22. Similarly, there's only 2 of that. And 37, 8 again could be useful, 20 and 18. No, 27? No, what am I talking about? 18, 28, so 17, right. So these numbers are the central 3. So that 7 must mean that these are 1, 2, 4. And this 6 that we discovered places 1, 2, 3 here. 3, 5, 6 are the remaining ones in this column, because we've already used 9, 8, 7 and 1, 2, 4. Somehow I wrote too many 9, 8, 7s there. Let's just fix that. Oh yeah, we decided that couldn't be the 1. 18 amongst those 3, but we don't know which way it works. This is interesting. Now that 3, 5 and 6 have gone there, I think these 3 have to be 9, 8, 4. I don't think there's another arrangement that will work. So, and this one now has to be 1, 2 or 7, and it's clearly got to be a 7 because we already have 1 and 2 in that row. This one can't be the 4 for the same sort of reason. Now we've got 20. Oh, this is going to make 18, so it can't be 7 with the 9, or this would have to be a 2. It must be 7, 8, 3. So that's quite useful. These 3 make 12. Starting with a 1 or a 2, they can't have the 9 in, clearly, or the 8, so they must have the 4 in there. The reason it couldn't have the 9 in is because they'd both have to be 1 and 2 to make this 12 decided, and only one of them can be 1 or 2. So with the 4, it must be 4, 2, 6, and that leaves 5, 9, 1 to make 15. So that's quite a good start. Now in this row, we've clearly got 5, 6, 9. That's the set up there. You can see we're always working in triples all the time in this sort of puzzle. This one could be 1, 3, 8, but yeah, I think that's the only possibility it could be. We can't have the 5 involved. Yeah, they must be 1, 3, 8. The first one must be the 8 because 1 and 3 have already been used up in that column. And then we get 4, 2, 7 for the other 3 cells. And the first one can't be a 2 because, again, that's been used up. Now this 17, it's got an 8, can't be with the 7 because that would give us a 2 in the top. So it must be that way round. Now, obviously, these two columns, which both say 14 at the top, clearly we can't work out which is which out of those because they're interchangeable at the moment. But down here we've got 6, 7, 9 as the set that it could be there. Now we've got a 7, so this 16, that 8, that's the most useful number. These 3 add up to 8 and they can't have a 4 in, and that means they must be 1, 2, 5. The only other possibility is 1, 3, 4. And that means that this 16 must be 3, 6, 7 down here. We then have 5, 8, 9 in these 3 cells, and 3, 4, 6 in these 3. And now, right, this 13 and this 12, yeah, we've worked them out, but we can now place the other digits in these rows, 5, 7, 9 and 3, 6, 8 in order. They obviously add up to the 21 and 17 that we were expecting. Now we need to make one more deduction, I would think, and then we can probably clean this up. This 21, no, we haven't used this 8 in the center here. But then could still be 1, 3, 4. That would leave this to be 2. And it couldn't be 7, make 19, because that would be 2, 9, 8. That's not possible. So that is 4 there. To make 19, that 4 needs another 15, which could be either 7, 8 or 3, 6. But now that that 4's gone, this group that make 8 must be 1, 2, 5. So 5 wasn't possible there. And 1, 2, 5, 4. This group makes 18. I don't think we can resolve that yet. Again, we've got a pair of 13s down here, so that's not going to help us with working out quite how these ones work out, how these ones resolve themselves. But a 20 in the center, in the same box that's got a 1, 2, 5, that could be 9, 8, 3, could also be 9, 7, 4. So not that helpful yet. It could be 9, 6, 5 actually. So there's, no, it could be 9, 6, 5. 5's been used. But we're not certain about that one. Now here we've got an 8 in the center row. And look, those 3 could either be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. But if they were 1, 2, 5, this cell would suddenly be impossible to fill. It's got to have a 1, 2 or 5 in it. So these 3 must be 1, 3, 4. And that should allow us to really make the progress on this puzzle now. These 3 add up to 19. So it's got a 5 and an 8. This must be 2 and 7, 9 in some order. These are 1, 3 now. And now we're really moving along, I think. We might be able to disambiguate the 12 and 14 here. 12 cannot be with the 9, because that would have to be 9, 2, 1, and this cell can't be a 1 or a 2. So there must be a 7, this must be a 9, then the other two add up to 5, so we don't know which way around they go actually. But that 9 is interesting. That puts a 9 in these three, but no 7. Therefore, to add up to 22, they must be 5, 8, 9. And these ones must be 2, 6, 7. And that enables us to fix the 1 and 2 pair there. Now to add up to 14, this needs to be the 4, that's the 3, 73, 5, 8, 9. That works out this 1, 3 pair. Now we need 4, 6 there. And 5, 8 here. Next, well, let's look at that 21 in these 3 cells. If it was with the 7 here, it would have to be 7, 6, 8. If it was with the 9, it would have to be 9, 4, 8. So the 8 is a definite there. Now, in this group, we need, I can't see how that 10 and 13 are going to help us at the moment. Still need to do a little bit more work to get this finished off. This 12. Yeah, this 12 means this can't be a 9. And the reason for that is because it would have to be 9, 1, 2 or 9, 2, 1. If they were 2 and 1, this cell would be impossible. It has to be a 1 or a 2. So that begins with a 6 or a 7. But that doesn't necessarily get anything finished. These numbers are so 15, 14, 16, they're so sort of central numbers. They can be made up in all sorts of ways. So it's not probably very profitable to work out how these 3 might be made up, or indeed any of these sets of 3. They're not very useful numbers for us. So I might need to just focus on this 12 could be 651, 642, or 741, 723. That's not really very helpful. Okay, up here we've got 1, 2, 5 and 4 are gone. So there must be a 3 in this 18. So the other two make 15. We can't have 9 and 6 in these 3 because one of those 9 or 6s must appear in one of those cells. So that must be 7, and this must be 3 and 8, and we can tell from the 8 above here which way round they go. And that now fixes the 9 and 6. We can at least reduce these to their pairs. 7, 8, 3, that must be 6, which is probably helpful. That's 9, so these are either both this 12 and 15 need a pair that adds up to 6. Not certain. Let's just disambiguate the pairs that we can do there. Oh, that's all. Okay, so one of these is a 1 and one of these is a 5, but that doesn't get us home. Okay, so this 20 in the central 3 here, this has to have the 9 in it because of the Sudoku rules of that 9 and that 9. So it's got a 9, but we did work out that it could still be 983 or 974. I can't see how to decide. If it was 983, this would be 571. 642, that's possible. If it was 974, that would be 51, that would be 832. That's possible too. Okay, that didn't help. So maybe I am going to have to... this 3 and 1 that we've managed to put in here, that is helpful. This can't be a 9 now because there's no 4 possibility here. Right, so that's where we have to go there. 2 and 9, and that allows us to fix this 7, 9 and this 4, 6 pair. So now we know that this is a 2, 5 pair down here. This is a 1, 4 pair. And now what were those possibilities that we had for 20 here? They were either 974 or 983. Are they both still possible? 983 5, 7, 1, 6, 4, 2, yeah. Phew, okay, I'm not quite seeing how to finish this off now. Maybe I really am going to have to work on these 15 combinations here. So, 15 up here, if this had the 9 in it, it would need either a 4 and a 2 to go with it, and that's not possible because of this cell, or a 5 and a 1, that's also not possible. So the 9 is not there. Could this be a 9? Yes, it could go with 1, 6 or 4, 3, and this 9 could go with 2, 3, so 9s are possible. Right, let's try with the 5 here. Well, no, maybe let's see if 9 is possible in this group. Can we make up a 14? 9, 2, 3, yeah. That would leave this being 8, 5, 2, no, that's not possible. 6, 5, 4, or 6, 7, 2. 9, 2, 3 would make that a 6. Can't quite see how to finish this off yet. It's probably something I'm missing. Now, that could have, I think by the same way as that has two possibilities, 983 or 974. This must have two possibilities, and they must be equally possible across the row as well. So that doesn't really advance us much. Could the 9 be here? It would have to have another 7. Couldn't be 5 and 2. It could be 1, 9, 6. Then up here we would be having 8, 5, 2, and that would leave 3, 4, 7. That's not possible. So if it was 1, 9, 6, and it wasn't the 8, it would have to be a 3. Not possible. I think the 9 can't be here, because if the 9 was here, that would have to be 1, that would have to be 6. And I think the only possibility to make 15 here would be 8, 5, 2, 1, 9, 6, 8, 5, 2, and 3, 4, 7 can't work here because that one can't be any of them. So the 9's not here, therefore the only other 9 possibility in this column is here. So as long as that logic is right, this has to be the 2 and this has to be the 4. That now is a 1. These add up to 14. Ooh, that doesn't work. I don't think I've got that right. Okay, so we'll back up a moment there. 9. Oh no, it wasn't 15 in the middle, it was 14 in the middle. I was looking at the wrong number. So 9 to, let's just restore that one as well. So 9 there and another 5 has to be 3, 2. Yeah, that rings a bell. So 3, 9, 2. This becomes 1 or 4, this becomes 6 or 8. This one is 1 or 5. Now, to make this 15, 8 and 7 not possible. It would have to be 6, 5, 4. Okay, let's assume that that is right. 4, 5, 6, 3, 1, and then these are a 7, 8 pair. Okay, so 2, 1, 2, 7, 9, 7, 9. So that's reducing the possibilities, obviously, in these other columns. And where shall we pick on? Let's try this 16. If it was with the 9, no, that wouldn't work. So the 16 must be 7, 8, 1, leaving this column to be 2, 9, 3, making 14. Now that's obviously fixed the 4 and 1 pair, also the 5 and the 8 pair, and that looks like it's working because it goes with 7 and 6. No, it's not. I'm looking at the wrong number again. That goes with 6 and 7 because they make this 15 and 16 that we noted down earlier. We fixed the 2 and the 5 combinations, and now we're going to be able to finish That's 9, 3 because of this 9 out here. And these must be 6 and 4. So here we go, 1, 4, 2, 1, 3, 7. I think this is all working now, and I mean we can check the remaining sums, and I'm sure they'll work. Yeah, that gets us done, and that's one way of doing a frame Sudoku. You can get slightly harder variants than that, but even that was a little bit testing. I hope you followed the logic there. Do obviously go back and slow down the video at the points where I'm trying to explain the sets I'm looking at. It's very important to note that these numbers represent the nearest 3, and the extra numbers I wrote represent the middle 3. So that's the summing that I'm doing there. So that's frame Sudoku, and an interesting variant, I think. Possibly not quite as much fun as between 1 to 9, but certainly something that's useful to learn about. And thanks very much for watching. Hope to see you again on Cracking the Cryptic. Bye for now.